No, it's not booked.
Yeah. June 1st, 30, 31, and June 1st, 3 days. Yeah, you can note here. And then after this second and third is bank holiday, fourth and fifth is Saturday, Sunday, weekend, yeah. And then next week, 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Yeah, 1 week, 5 days total. So total 8 days.
So 30, 31, 1st, and 6 to 10.
6 to 10. That means total 8 days.
Okay, Paulo probably going to be here today. As soon as he got here, I talked to him and I put on the system for you.
Okay.
All right. If I have no problem, I'll let you know.
Okay.
As soon as I can.
All right. Thank you. Actually, I want to, with my family.
Yeah. No, it's okay, man. It's
also,
okay.
I need to rest,
Yeah, it's okay.
Like 2 weeks.
Very
Not only here. In weekend job, I have another job, weekend. 7 days I'm working, I'm never. I don't have.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm gonna talk to Paul and I'll let you know what he says.
Saturday, Sunday also I booked another
other one.
Yeah, so I want to totally 2 weeks. I want to rest.
As soon as I talk to him, I'll let you know. But I don't think should be any problem. We don't have anyone on holiday this week.
Nobody.
So should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
JP, it's all good?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. We have to 105.
Weekly, yeah?
Weekly. Yeah.
Okay, as soon as I talk to him, I'll let you know.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Bruno.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Bruno. How are we doing?
Hi. Sorry, he just came in. Nobody have access to my schedule, so.
Yeah, of course. So it sounded like you were booking and planning on organising some holiday time for
him. Staff. Yeah. He said last week that he wants some holidays, but he didn't pass me the dates. So every time that I got some holidays, I can put on the system, but I always talk to Paulo first, so I don't waste my time and his time put on the system, and he said I can't accept the holiday. So
yeah, of course. So your time managed that situation as well. I also saw that you managed that members of staff expectation as well. Just by saying I can't tell you that I can definitely agree to it now, but it'll probably be okay. But I just need to check, and then you confirm with him. So you communicated that face to face. Would that also be confirmed digitally, like in an email to them as well? So there's like a paper trail. There's evidence of that holiday being agreed, or is that done on like a holiday form?
Richard, to be honest, now that the system changed, I don't know if they got an email, if the staff got an email. When I put on the system, I can put only for my staff, only for this site.
Yeah.
So when I put on the system, go straight to Paulo, he accepts, and then I don't have any feedback from the system.
Okay.
So I only have the feedback from Paulo saying, okay, I approve it, so it's all good for him. I don't know if the staff get some emails or something like that. When I got some holiday, I didn't got, so they probably don't get.
Okay, so they don't get a notification.
No, it's my word. The only time that I say, okay, we can't give this holiday, it's when you have another staff booked already.
Yeah.
And I say straight away, so I'm sorry, but we have our staff already. Then they change the schedule. So
that's it. So I can see that you've got a schedule, you've got a calendar there where you can see people are off and when.
Yeah, that's actually the schedule that we have to clean the rooms.
Yeah.
We have 3 schedules. It's different schedules. The schedule for holiday, Paulo have, because he used to book the holidays for everybody.
Yeah.
Now that I'm doing it, I just send through, he approves, and I put on the board for him.
Okay.
So it's actually a system. It's a simple system, but as I'm a supervisor, Paulo have to approve.
Yeah.
And put it through. So
yeah, that's it. So that's the process. So staff come to you, do they always come to face, or do they sometimes request holiday on email? Or
they can do it online through the app.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have a portal that all staff have access, but they don't know how to do it.
Okay.
So it's not that they don't know how to do it. It's simple, but they're afraid to do it. So they prefer talking to me face to face. And I said, for me, it's okay. I prefer actually because I know I'm gonna note and these kind of things.
That's it.
But they can do it on the portal, on the Bidvest portal, and then we get the notification.
Yeah, of course.
Because
so that's the
to do.
That's the benefit of talking about it face to face, I guess, isn't it? So there's no, everybody can understand exactly what's being asked for. They're probably more confident. You can understand what they're asking for rather than anything being misconstrued or misunderstood in an email, for example. So that's definitely an advantage, I would say, of communicating face to face. So there's clarity.
Yeah, it's good even because we do, when we book the holiday, if I want 10 days, I need to book Monday to Friday and then Monday to Friday again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the system is going to recognize Saturday and Sunday as a work day. So
yeah, of course.
They need to do this math as well.
Yeah.
So they understand the process. So
that's it.
I mean,
yeah, that's it. But also, I mean, how much? I'd say, what different forms of communication do you use within the business then, Bruno? Can you identify how you might communicate with staff and managers differently? Because there's lots of different forms of communication. So can you give me any examples of ones that you use on site there?
I use more, I use a lot of emails.
Yeah, I guess you do reports and kind of memos, things like that as well.
I have to do at least 2 reports weekly and 2 reports monthly. I mean, that comes to my mind, it's at least 2 of them. The weeklies I do, and I can do it by myself.
Yeah.
One of the monthlies is for ARC, the company that we work.
Okay.
I can do 80% alone, and I need some help to the other sites to complete the forms.
Yeah.
Because I don't have this information, so they need to send me.
Yeah.
And the financial side, it's only Paulo that have this control for now.
Okay.
So he needs to be by my side and say, okay, we've done this. That was the amount. So just put on the PowerPoint.
Okay.
And Paulo do the presentation as he's the key account manager.
Yeah. Okay.
I help him with some other two reports, but it's just to help. You know, he wants me to be in front of it, but as I'm a supervisor from this site, I don't have access to any other contractors.
Yeah, of course.
It's this kind of thing. So he just asked me help to, to see what's going on, to help him with the presentations and this kind of things.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so you're using a lot of different forms of communication, Bruno. So you mentioned you use digital forms of communication, so reports, emails, weekly and monthly. You're also using kind of face-to-face communication, which is really important. You might have some of the staff might have like a WhatsApp group for work as well, so everybody keeps involved. Everybody knows what's going on. But how do you think effective communication is important within a business, Bruno? Why do you think communication within a business is important?
Well, for me, communication is the key for everything, to be honest, not just for the business, because if you don't communicate, how I'm gonna know what you're doing or what I need to do, Face to face for me is the best way
Yeah.
Because you don't have any lack of communication. You don't have a call broken. You don't have a fail email that didn't go through any reason why.
Yeah.
You know, so every time that I can, and I need to speak with someone, I try to do face to face.
Yeah.
As much as I can. And then if it's something important that I need to put on the paper and make it formal, so people not gonna forget about me, I send an email, say, hey, regarding what we said today, just to, you know, keep in touch. That's all done. We're gonna do this and that. So I have a proof.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about, Bruno, is selecting the right or the most appropriate form of communication depending on what the situation is. So for some things, like a face-to-face conversation is the best. Like if you're taking a one-to-one, for example, or a performance review with a member of staff, that's probably always best done one-to-one in person.
Mm-hmm.
So you can discuss. You're able to give constructive feedback, which is obviously important, and both of you can get an opportunity to, you know, to give constructive feedback in that scenario. You can give them advice on what they're doing well, what they could improve on potentially. They could then give you, you know, feedback on how they think they're performing, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys do?
Yeah, we do, especially with the new guys, with the new stuff. We do after 3 months.
Yeah.
And after 6 months. So we just put on the paper what we think it's good, what we don't think, what we think they need to improve.
Yeah.
So I never done because it's gonna be my first new stuff now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's gonna be the first time that I do it. But even when he goes to clean something and I see that something is good or something wrong, I talk to him straight away and he said, for me, it's fine. I mean, they accept really well. So
excellent. And that's the thing, is if it's done in a constructive way, if it's not done in a negative way, then it's going to be a positive process. You know, you're trying to help them. They're going to see that you're trying to help them rather than just picking up on things. Okay. So we mentioned, Bruno, a little bit about selecting different types of communication for different situations. So for some things, you might choose to do something face to face. Other things, if it's important, you might do face to face and also back that up with an email or a memo. You might also have people. Now, you mentioned for your reports. Sometimes you'll find, and you'll find this throughout life as well, that different people have different ways of doing things, have different methods of operations. So do you find sometimes that some of the clients you work with, or when you ask them for information for your report, do you prefer that some of them prefer doing it face to face, or some of them prefer doing it over the phone, and then some of them prefer sending it over email, things like that?
I think all the people that I need to talk in the site, they prefer doing by email.
Okay.
But as we do cleaning and I need to see what's going on,
yeah,
I think that's why I prefer walking by and take a look what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
But as they work more in front of the computer, I think they prefer always doing by email, you know.
Yeah. Because it's quicker, presumably, for them. It's less time consuming than having to plan a meeting, and so they would choose that kind of meeting. Whereas, as we said, maybe if you're meeting with a member of staff to book holiday, or for a performance review, doing a one-to-one, that's always going to be better face to face.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever taken a performance review or a meeting, Bruno, with any of your staff? Or done a handover, or presented any information or training to any of your staff at all?
I've done. I presented. We are doing like I forgot the name.
Toolbox talks.
No, it's not a toolbox talk. With the new stuff that we have now, we are doing by models.
Okay.
So we've done like 4 models every week, 1 model by week. So I sit with him face to face. I explain. As usually, who gets in here don't have access to the whole site.
Yeah.
I do a face-to-face presentation. I talk to them, show the materials, the equipments, and then when we go to the room, I explain the same thing, but showing how to do it.
Excellent. So you're also considering what their learning style might be.
Yeah.
Because some people, we've said this before, haven't we? Some people learn better through being shown what to do. Some people learn better through being given a list of instructions.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's better for you to see things happening and see things in action as well.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I like to see people reacting,
Yeah.
So if I say something and he don't like, I'm gonna see straight away on his reaction, on his face, that he didn't like, and I'm gonna try to change that to, people need to be happy.
Yeah.
Working or not.
Yeah, of course.
If they're happy working, it's better for me and better for him. So
yeah, of course. Can you think of an example where that's happened, Bruno, where you've had to give, where you've had to maybe have a difficult conversation with somebody, that you've managed to turn it into a constructive, process where it's, that it's had a good outcome?
This stuff that came here to ask holiday, it came 2 months ago, 3 months ago, asking for a day that I had another staff on holiday.
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry, but you know that Mark's requested the holiday already. So he had an appointment with his son, and anyway, he said, okay, but I need to take it. I said, I don't mind. I can talk to Paulo. I think I know what he's gonna say, so you can take it, but it's not gonna be paid.
Okay.
So he took the holiday. Of course, it was better if it was paid, but it's impossible to do everything.
Yeah, of course.
So he was happy that he took the holiday to help his son to go to the appointment.
Yeah.
And he was just unhappy to don't get the payment, but in the end of the day, he done what he had to do. So
yeah, of course, and I guess that was explained to him very clearly. So he knew he knew the process. He knew that if somebody was already booked in, then that was difficult. But I'm sure he also appreciated that you asked Paolo and kind of said, look, maybe can this person still have the day off, even if it's unpaid leave? So he got, even if it was unpaid, he still was able to have the time off, which I'm sure was important. Which I'm sure was important to him. And sometimes that's important, isn't it, to recognise the needs of individuals, not just as people, not just staff.
Yeah.
Because that can help build rapport and build relationships with staff, even though I'm sure this person might not have been happy that they weren't going to get paid. I'm sure they were still happy that they were able to take the time off to do that with his son.
Mm-hmm.
And you explain that to them, and sometimes that's quite a good example of how managing expectation is important, and how by using effective communication you can actually develop good relationships with staff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So even if something happens where it's you have to have a difficult conversation with them, you can do that constructively, so there's still a satisfactory outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that member of staff has been fine afterwards, and they've come back to work and they've worked hard. So that's the benefit of kind of using effective communication to build rapport, build relationships with staff. That's equally important with clients and managers as well.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, it's important that everybody gets to know how each other works, what people's motivations are. Once you understand that a little bit more, you understand how to kind of treat staff. individually. Obviously, Bruno, we've spoken before about equality and diversity, treating everybody with respect, treating everybody fairly. That doesn't necessarily mean treating everybody the same, because you understand with your management skills that you have to handle people slightly differently to manage certain outcomes. So that's part and parcel of your job as a manager to understand that and implement coaching and motivation and motivating your staff differently to get the best out of them. Sometimes you can do that as a team. Sometimes you have to do that individually. As you mentioned before, so some people, in terms of learning styles, we spoke about a little bit earlier. You mentioned that you would like to explain what you want to happen for some people. Some people will understand verbal explanation better. Some people understand like a list of instructions. Some people will like to be shown what to do as well. And sometimes it's better to incorporate all of that. So particularly for something like staff training, when you're delivering staff training to a group, you feel it's important to keep that in mind, and that people learn differently rather than just using maybe one style that might suit half the group but not the other half of the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Right. Okay. Right, Bruno. I realised we went kind of straight into the session there, but also today's session is a masterclass on communication and building relationships. So actually, when you said at the start that you were having a one-to-one with a member of staff to try and book holiday, actually it kind of clicked relatively quickly that actually I can use this. So that's why we started recording the session straight away, and why we've had this kind of quality discussion thereafter on why effective communication can be important, how it can affect an individual's performance, how it can affect a team. You've also given an example of having a challenging conversation with a member of staff and how you manage that. We also spoke about how you use different types of communication in different scenarios and why that's important. For example, for some things you would use a one-to-one face-to-face. For some people you can pick up the phone and explain verbally. For some things you need digital or like written forms of communication like emails or memos or reports. So it's really understanding how do you select the most appropriate form of communication depending on what you're doing, and you clearly got an understanding of that, which is great, and also giving constructive feedback as well. And the most recent thing we've covered is building rapport with staff and managers, building relationships, managing those effectively. Sometimes it might be a difficult conversation, but if it's done constructively, if it's done well and professionally, then obviously that respect is maintained and you can maintain a good working relationship with someone, which is really, really important. So that's good. That's been a really good start to the session, Bruno, because we've covered quite a lot of criteria there that we need to go through, which is excellent. Okay. Right. If I can share my screen with you, Bruno, can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so today was session 3. So it was based on communication, as we say. So we're going to talk about communication techniques, choosing the most appropriate medium, which we've done. Barriers to effective communication and how to overcome them. So we've done that. So we've said sometimes, you mentioned a lot of the guys on site prefer to meet in person. And if they were to send that email request on over email, then sometimes communication can get lost. So sometimes it's better to meet somebody in person, face to face. As you mentioned correctly, sometimes you like to do that face to face with them because you can see their reactions and you can manage those reactions accordingly, which is really good. And that all maps in with building rapport and relationships through effective communication. We also mentioned about effectively chairing a meeting and presenting information. So where you might have delivered any staff training, when you might have delivered a handover to staff, where you might have gone back to Paolo and said, look, through these reports, weekly or monthly that you do, you might have found something and thought, oh, this is something we can change maybe. Or if you found that a lot of staff are coming back and maybe they don't understand an element of health and safety training, for example, that you've delivered, maybe you could go back to Paolo and say there's 3 or 4 members of staff that have come back to me with the same issue. Maybe that's something that we could then identify as a training need across the team, and you can identify that. The next one was managing challenging conversations, which you've mentioned. You had to deal with a holiday request that wasn't going to be able to be processed the way the staff member wanted it. So, how did you deal with that? And that was a good example as well. So that's what we wanted to cover today, Bruno. Which what we'll do is, because I recorded that part of the session, I'll now finish that recording and I can map that in as evidence that we've had that discussion and that you understand these roles and the role communication plays and all of these things.
That was quick.